And we're live. All right. I cannot wait for everyone to get in here because I am really excited to show you guys everything about my trip from Ethiopia. Actually, now that I think about it, I should double check that I'm able to play audio from from my trip. So I'm gonna test that right now. Oh, well, there's a video. Oh yeah, looks like you guys can hear it. All right. I need to minimize this somehow. There we go. Okay. I know how technology works. Hello, everybody. So glad to see everyone here. I made a. Oh, you know what? I really should have made an Instagram story about this. I am so last minute about everything. I'll just leave one right now. Alright, you guys are going to see me make an Instagram story live. Yeah. Alright. Gotta make sure my hair's all good, alright? Hey everybody, I'm about to go, actually I'm doing a live stream right now about my trip to Ethiopia. I'm going to go through all my pictures and videos and I'm just going to explain everything. So if you guys have any questions, you guys want to ask me about my trip to Ethiopia, now's the time. I should have made this Instagram story earlier, but better late than never. So if you guys hop on the YouTubes between now and like the next hour or two, I should be there and be able to answer any questions that you guys may have. See you there. Hey everybody, I'm about to... Alright, so hopefully that'll get a couple more people behind the scenes. Yeah. So these are, I just have these in as chronological order as I can. My phone was set to Ethiopian time, but my camera was set to, I think, still American time because there's no GPS in the camera. So it's a little bit out of order with the phone and like camera stuff. It's mostly in order. Found the live stream. Is that a phone? So small, it looks like a toy. Yeah. So what's funny is actually the person who owns this phone is about 6'3" or so. Cat says hola. Anyway, so like I said, I'm going to go through all these. So let's just start with this one. So this is the tiniest phone that I have ever seen. The guy who owned this phone, you'll see him in just a second, is one of B's friends, and he told me that he was on a bus and like he had a normal sized Android phone like this, and he got it pickpocketed, which is a real thing in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It's kind of like the New York City of Ethiopia as far as like size wise. I think population wise it's a little bit bigger, but size wise it's a little bit smaller. So it's a very condensed city, but pickpocketing is a real thing there. So he got his phone pickpocketed, and then this was like the replacement phone for his, which I've never seen before, but I think that's Amharic writing on there, as you guys can see. You'll see a lot of the alphabet in these photos. Bonjour, have a safe trip. So I actually came back from my trip, and I did have a good, safe trip. So, there's some tea right here. Whenever you ask for tea, they pretty much always give you chai tea, as unless you're asking for something different. But chai is very, very common there. And actually, I found out that the word chai literally means tea in Amharic. So one time I asked for chai, meaning like chai flavored tea, and then the girl was like, "You're learning some Amharic, huh?" She was like, "Oh, B must have taught you." I was like, "Nope, I meant chai, like the type of tea, because that's what we call it in the U.S." I thought that was kind of funny. That's like the Zoolander phone, yeah. All right. So this is the video that I was talking about, where you'll get to see the person actually using the phone. So you can just, you guys can let me know. This is my first video playing on OBS, so you can let me know if the volume is too high, too low, whatever. Let me know if you guys can hear it. I have it muted for me because I don't want there to be like an echo when you guys can hear from the speaker. So anyway, there's a lot of music being played, and this is in Addis Ababa. This is just like a random city. And they have a lot of amenities like that all over the place. They have like a bunch of little tiny stores. Instead of, like I was telling the people who live there, instead of having a few stores, like you have like one big Walmart, one big Kohl's, one big Target, one big Wegmans, they have a bunch of little ones. Like this store is literally as wide as this sign, and then the store next to it is just as wide as the sign as well. And they don't really go too deep either. There's very short, very small stores, and like you'll just walk in right here. But yeah, they have like mannequins all over, like upside down mannequins. Some of them look really creepy, depending on how big their eyes were. But yeah, there's countless stores. Like on any one street, there might be like 100 stores. And these are the taxis. These are the taxis from the airport. These are just like the normal taxis. And one thing that I found when I was in Ethiopia is, can't understand you well, videos. Okay, yeah, so I'll wait until the video's done playing next time I play stuff. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, so one thing that I got used to pretty quick in Ethiopia, if you'll notice, I'm just gonna be honest, not trying to hate on the country, but it's just not nearly as clean as the U.S. And in Ethiopia, since it is still like a third world country, basically people really just use products and just use things, just run them into the ground, and then they keep using them. I really noticed that with the taxis. I didn't want to take any pictures or videos of the taxis. I felt like it would be kind of rude if I were to like take a picture of like the broken windshield or like the door that's being held together by duct tape. But that's reality of like that's what a lot of it is like. A lot of things are just broken, but as long as they serve their purpose, like as long as that taxi will like get you from point A to point B, they're just gonna keep using it. Whereas like in the U.S., if things are like not quite as aesthetically pleasing, or it's just like you don't love your car anymore, often you'll sell it and just get a new one. Whereas this one, like when you have one of these taxis, like it's going to be really expensive to replace it, and you're not making that much money as it is, so you just keep riding into the ground. So that's one thing that I found interesting with the city. It's very different, and there's a lot of abandoned buildings, and you'll see a lot more of those, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this is just the city of Addis Ababa. So that's the Amharic writing. They also have a lot of English writing throughout the city and just all over Ethiopia. And that's his friend who is using the phone right there. Like I said, he's like 6'3". He's a really big guy, so him using a tiny phone is actually really funny. I am a home baker in Texas. I made my first vegan cupcakes last week. I found you and Hercules in doing my vegan cupcake research. Cool. That's how I feel about Mexico, man. Yeah. Have you talked about the people there? Chill, friendly people? Yeah. There's like really, really, everyone's just like very welcoming. I just felt like very safe the whole time. If you look up, is Addis Ababa safe or is Ethiopia safe? It's like, usually it just says it's remarkably safe. If you go near the borders of like Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, stuff like that, not so safe anymore, but as long as you're in the middle of the country, and you know, if you're, maybe there's like some parts, you know, just some parts in America you don't want, like I don't want to go to Compton, but you know, there's some parts in every country that are not safe, but we, you know, stayed in like the major cities where like it's very safe. Okay, so anyway, on to the next one. So this is one of the views from the hotel. This is not our room. This is just like they had like a bunch of rooms for like conferences and stuff, and I just thought it had a nice view. But I thought it was really cool. Like you can see like the mountains in the background. You can see the city that just like goes on forever. This is a really big stadium that they're working on for like football. Well, they call it football. I call it soccer. And concerts and stuff. Anything that, you know, like something that would be used for a stadium. Yeah, and these are like all the city buses and stuff. But down here too, they have a lot of public transport. There's not that many cars, and one thing you'll probably see, like a lot of the cars are like it's a very packed sometimes. Even though I say there's not that many cars, because they don't have that many streets. So everyone's compacted into like very few streets, so it gets pretty congested sometimes. How are the sunsets and sunrises there? I didn't wake up in time for the sunrise. We usually went to bed pretty late because we were just like going, just like doing different stuff all day. So I just woke up when we woke up. There was a documentary where a blind guy showed how he traveled and stayed in the city, and everyone was so friendly, cheery, and helpful. Yeah, everyone that I found was very helpful, friendly, nice. A lot of people speak English there, and I was also hanging out with like B and like a bunch of his friends who a lot of them spoke English too, so it was easy to get around. No streets. Yeah, there are streets. It's just there's not that many streets compared to like the U.S. The amount of streets we have per car is way more than in Ethiopia. So public transportation is pretty popular, which definitely alleviates it because a lot of times you'll have like a van that's just like packed with people, and if each one of those people had a car, it would just suck driving around with that many people. Did you have met B's family before? No, that was my first time in Ethiopia. They've never left Ethiopia, so yeah, I never got to meet them. This is just like sort of the same view, but I just wanted to like show the cars down there. You can like see all the people down here walking around, and that's one thing too. I noticed like, well, it's probably because it was the city, but like every city that we went to, there was just like so many people walking up and down the streets. And then I came home. The first city I came to was Buffalo. Almost nobody walking around. It was culture shock. I mean, I think there would probably be more people walking around if it was nice out, whereas like here it was like 70 degrees. You'll see like a lot of the people down here are like wearing pants because it's not really as warm as you would expect in Africa. In this part of Ethiopia, at least we went to a really hot part of Ethiopia called Gambela later on. But yeah, what was it? Where was I going? Pants. Oh yeah. So in Buffalo, I came home and it was like maybe 20 degrees or something like that. And here it's like 70 degrees. So there's obviously going to be more people walking around. And like I said, not as many people have cars too. And pretty much everyone in Buffalo has a car. And yeah, here I took a panorama and you can see this car was driving as I was taking the panorama. But yeah, I think this shot of this street looks really cool. And you can see there's also a person or maybe two people down here on this like highway. Yeah, there's a highway. Sometimes, especially if there's traffic like really backed up, you'll see people on a highway trying to like sell people stuff in their car. Like I've seen people selling like fireworks, hats, sunglasses, anything. There's people just like hustling all the time. Do you feel like your horizons are wide and has expanded your mind? Yeah, I have learned a lot about like a different culture. I learned what it's like to come to a country and not speak the language. I had no idea what it was like before, and I know I now know what it's like to like when I first got there. It was really rough because like I wanted to just send my family like a text message saying I landed, I'm safe, everything's okay, but I couldn't do that because I didn't have a SIM card in Ethiopia. I couldn't find any like reliable. I couldn't find any good Wi-Fi the first like whole day that I was there. So it was just really tough just thinking about how much my family was worrying about me and not being able to let them know that I was okay. And that sucked the most. But this view is pretty cool. You got more mountains over here. The whole city of Addis Ababa is just kind of like surrounded by mountains, and there's just like I said, like the city just goes on forever, and there's abandoned buildings everywhere. B would be able to tell you guys more info about that, but I know there's a lot of abandoned buildings because I guess in third world countries it's popular to like or common for people to start building and then they run out of funding and then they just don't keep building. How was the air quality? In the city, it was, in this really big city, sometimes the air quality wasn't great, but you go to smaller cities, felt very clean. Certain parts of this city where there's just like less people also felt very clean. You haven't talked about how vegan friendly it was. I haven't gotten into pictures of the food yet, but it was probably easier to be vegan there than it was in the U.S. Africans are virtually vegan. Animal products are scarce and expensive. Yeah, you're actually pretty right. So meat is not that hard to get a hold of. Like if you go to a restaurant, I mean, it's more expensive for sure. What you're saying, like I ate a lot of my meals like $1.50, maybe $3, $6 was like an expensive meal for me. For B, sometimes maybe he would like pay more than that because he was eating meat. and dairy is almost non-existent, at least in this part, because you have to have access to cows and goats and stuff in order to have butter or cheese, stuff like that. And they don't have refrigerated trucks in Ethiopia, so you can't transport it. It's only if you have like the only cheese or butter you would eat would be like very local stuff. So you basically just have meat, and because they actually will, you see like a bunch of cows and goats and chickens and stuff like in the city. I saw cows and goats in the city, so they unfortunately would slaughter them like nearby and then just cook them and stuff there, but they wouldn't be able to reliably get butter or cheese, stuff like that. So usually if there was no meat in something, usually it was vegan. Not all the time, but usually it was. Anything interesting that the people do there that people don't do in the US? I found that most people just got up earlier, and the time there is like, okay, so their local time is kept a little bit differently. It kind of makes sense though, because since they're so close to the equator, all year round they have like 12-hour day, 12-hour night. All year round, sun rises at the same time and sets at the same time, like every day. So after the sun has been up for 1 hour, they call it 1 a.m. After the sun's been up for 2 hours, they call it 2 a.m. And it just keeps going like that. And after the sun's been down for 1 hour, it's now 1 p.m. So time was a little tricky sometimes. Like me and B would be trying to figure out, like, wait, does this person mean like 2 p.m. like what my watch says, or like 2 p.m. like their local version of 2 p.m., which is very interesting. Mrs. Memphis sent a $2 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Say No More tells assistant to book a flight for tomorrow morning. I like this shot. Thank you. Yeah, I got some other cool shots too. So anyway, let's get back to it. Just another shot from the hotel. This is a pretty nice hotel. This is called the Nexus Hotel. I liked it. The hotels there are not really that expensive. Actually, you know what? I should show you something real quick, because this is their currency called. I can't roll my tongue. So you're just gonna have to pretend I'm rolling my tongue when I say it's called a birr. This is 100 birr. Let me just pull up my program here so I can make sure. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. This is what one side of it looks like. I just have it on my wall. But 100 birr is equivalent to, I want to say $3 or $4, somewhere around there. So you'd get like a check and it'd be like $100, and you're like, oh no! And then you remember like, oh wait, that's like $3 US. Never mind. Yes, that's great. So let's see. Oh yeah, one thing that I regret that I have not done this since I started like traveling a bit more. Like I've never taken a picture of like the inside of the hotel ever, and I really want to start doing that, because now I can't show you guys what the inside of the hotel looked like my room, and that's something I want to keep in mind to do next time. But anyway, this is the view from the top of the hotel. And so we went to like a bar/restaurant, and they have Coca-Cola there. Their soda kind of tastes a little bit better. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's less preservatives. Maybe it's just real sugar. I don't know. But so this is what the Coca-Cola looks like on one side, and then this is the Amharic writing that says Coca-Cola on the other side, which I thought was pretty interesting. A hotel like that being that cheap, that's a deal. Yeah. So how much were a lot of the hotels for like a two twin beds were like $70 to $90 a night. And when we left Canada, I think I paid like $107 for both of us to have full-size beds, or full-size beds, I think, in Canada. So actually not too much cheaper. It was a little bit cheaper, but we were getting twin beds instead of like full-size. So yeah, the hotels were like things that I think that things that people outside of Ethiopia would often use are probably not going to be as cheap as like things that Ethiopians use all the time, because you have to charge things for what people are going to be able to pay. What were the biggest cultural differences between the U.S. and there, and is it generally a safe place for women to travel? Thanks. Asked on IG before I realized you were going to be on the tubes. Okay, so I would say generally it is safe. Like in a lot of U.S. cities, I would say don't go out at night. There's probably going to be some people. No, there's definitely going to be some people, whether you're male or female, trying to like take advantage of you as far as like knowing that you don't know what the culture is, trying to like get more money out of you, telling you that things cost more than they do, stuff like that. That's really your biggest concern. I know that there's a YouTube video of a woman who is solo traveling Ethiopia, which that's kind of brave to do. I wouldn't even want to solo travel Ethiopia. Like I felt much safer, and like I knew what was going on a lot more when I had friends with me who I trusted, who could explain what was going on, because like half the time I didn't know what was going on, which was really new to me. But yeah, I would say generally it's pretty safe. And like I said, there's a YouTube video where like a woman is solo traveling. If you just type in like solo travel Ethiopia, it'll probably pop right up. But she said that she felt very safe the whole time, so I guess I'll go off of what she said. It's probably real sugar in the water. Yeah. Cane sugar. Yeah, so I actually had sugar cane while I was there. In the street, they basically had sugar cane, and they would just chop off. They would chop off the end so that it's like brand new. Nothing ever touched it, and then they would chop off the other end, and then they would chop one way and chop the other way until it's quartered, and then you just break a piece off and you can eat it. Usually you'll just bite on it and like chew it and stuff until you get like all the juice out, and then you'll like spit out the fibers. So that's how you eat sugar cane. I learned how to do that. I learned how to do a lot of different stuff when I was there. But you guys will see a lot of different stuff from the photos. I've only gone through like 2% of the photos. Okay, another shot of like the same thing. Let's move on from that. So this is something called fasting furfur. So there's a couple different types of furfur. Which again, I think you're supposed to like roll your R's. There's a lot of words that you're supposed to roll your R's, but I just can't do that because I'm American. So furfur is basically like deep fried bread. So you can get like actual bread, or this is called injera. So injera is like a type of fermented. You'll see a lot of this because injera is in like almost every meal. You eat it for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Ethiopia. It's like a fermented flatbread, like very soft and spongy, made of something called teff flour. And basically, what you do with your furfur is like with your injera is like you rip off a piece of it, you put it in your hand like this, and then on the plate you pick it up like this and you eat it in your hand like that. So it's kind of like finger food, but you don't get it all over your. Well, if you'll still get it on your hands. But yeah, it's really good. I really like it a lot. If I didn't like it, it would have been a rough 2 weeks because we ate it all the time. So what's interesting is like this is deep fried injera, and then you eat it with injera. So like every time I got this, which I really like this, I recommend getting it if you ever go to like an Ethiopian restaurant. It just reminds me of like the meme with Exhibit. It says like, "Yo dog, I heard you like injera, so I got you some injera to eat with your injera." Like I don't know, I just thought that was funny. One of my bucket list items is to solo travel around the U.S. by train. Of course, Hercules is my first stop. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, and it'd be like relatively cheap if you're doing it by train. Hi Craig, how are you doing? Did you have fun? Yeah, I did have a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I went. Would you like to learn how to roll your R's one day, Craig? Just asking. Yeah, maybe one day. Injera tastes like sourdough bread times 10. Yeah, it does taste a little bit sour. If it's not quite made quite right, it's too sour, but it's just got like a hint of sour if it's made just right. All right, let's go on to the next one. Oh, so this is just a cat. I just thought it was B's family's cat. I thought it was funny. The cat was just playing, so I'll just play this. Just a cute cat. I just thought I'd show you guys that video because I was like, you know what, cats are the same everywhere. They just like to lay in the sun and play. Oh, so this was interesting. You'll see a lot of stuff like this in Ethiopia where people are just hustling. Like there's a person over here, like I think they're probably working together. They just are like selling stuff on the streets. So this guy's selling bags, if you couldn't tell. So they'll just walk up to you like, bag, would you like a bag? And then they're almost trying to like pressure you into buying a backpack. Usually what B told me is like a lot of the stuff there that they're selling on the streets is not very good quality. Like they look like they're good, but then like a week or two later they start to break or fall apart. On phones, I guess, that you buy there, a lot of them will last for like 6 months. So yeah, it's gotta be careful. You know, I miss you guys cooking in your mom and dad's kitchen. Yeah, I've been meaning to make more videos recently, especially with Dylan. Oh, so this is the view from Addis Ababa. I believe this is when we left for Gambela. Um, so you guys will probably see in Gambela pretty soon. So the place that we were just in was called Addis Ababa, which translates to New Flower in Amharic. Um, and it's like their main capital city. It's like their biggest city. The president lives in the city. It's huge. It's like the size of New York City. So this is Addis Ababa. Did you buy anything from the hustlers? I don't think so. I don't think I did, because B always warned me against them. Oh yeah, so this is my first time flying on like a plane that has propellers. Thought that was interesting. I took a lot of pictures apparently. Yeah, I think these are like condo complexes over here, and there's a lot of abandoned buildings. It's a really big city, really big, and they have a lot of roundabouts. There's very few traffic lights, and actually, there was a couple times when if there was no one around, if there was like, say, usually in the U.S., if you come to a red light, you stop. Even if no one's around, you still stop. But there, if no one's around, or if there's people around, they're not going, you just drive right through the red light. No one cares. Like the traffic laws there are pretty much non-existent. Like they're really not enforced by anything. And this is a lake, obviously. I just thought it looked cool when we were flying over to Gambela. And then this is the Gambelan airport. This is their only baggage claim area. And it was so small. I just thought it was so interesting. I kind of wish I took more pictures, but we were kind of like in a hurry. So yeah. Honestly, that was the only picture I took at the Gambela airport, but it was very small. There's only like one plane that'll land at a time. And this is my first picture that I took in Gambela. This is kind of what I feel like when I think of Africa. Like this is what I think of, like dirt roads and stuff like that. Some of Africa looks like this. Some of Africa did not. If you will, briefly catch me up on why you're in Ethiopia, like one sentence, maybe another comment. I was in Ethiopia. I went to go visit my friend's family because he's asked me for years to come with him because he goes back to visit them every year, and I finally said yes. So anyway, this is a road from the airport to his family's place. And there's a lot of dirt roads and there's a lot of potholes. Like B was saying that like the roads will be paved and they'll be good for like a year or two, and then a bunch of potholes start coming in because they get very cheap road. They get roads done very cheaply. And yeah, there's a lot of people just like walking on the side of the road, even in like very small cities. And then they're basically like asking for a ride. Which sometimes we gave them a ride. And then they said that there used to be a big sign up here, so like welcome to Gambela or something like that. But yeah, you can see like all the potholes. Yeah, and this is like where we're starting to enter Gambela. It's going to be a little bit more populated, still a lot of potholes though. Yeah, and they had a lot of these streamers just going all the way down the street, which I think looked kind of cool. It was like very decorative. Yeah, it was so cool just like seeing like these trees. I know it's just trees, but like it's just like seeing them for like the whole week when we're there. I know what your friends are talking about. Oh yeah, yep, that's my friend Blomquist. Any animals you saw that aren't common in the U.S.? Yes. Here's a dog just sitting in the middle of the street. But I took a picture of it. I'm not going to show you guys, but there's a dead hyena that was like just on the side of the road as like roadkill, which I'd never seen a hyena before. So to see it as roadkill is just really fascinating. We saw some camels. They were pretty far in the distance though. We were on like a road trip to another city called Awasa, and they saw them on like out the window. They saw them, so we just like backed up the car a little bit and we got out and we started looking at the camels. It's on one of my Instagram stories. I saved it so you guys can always go back and look at it as my trip to Ethiopia, or maybe just call it Ethiopia, something like that. But you can go back and you can see the camels. It's pretty cool. I don't think I have it saved in this folder though. They drive on the same... Yeah, they all drive on the right side of the road, which is interesting. I thought it'd be on the left side. Been here watching, just busy. Too busy to say hi. Looks like a wonderful trip. Yeah, it was fun. The flags remind me of a used car lot. What's up? It's been a while. Hey, what's going on, Cat Charlie? Just going over my photos and videos of my trip to Ethiopia. Camels. We have them here in Cali. You have camels in California in the zoo or something? Yeah, so there's a lot of roundabouts. They don't have a whole lot of traffic lights, and it just kind of keeps the traffic moving, I guess. And since people don't really follow traffic lights anyway, it's probably better for them to just have roundabouts. Yeah. So, anyway. Oh, so this is a panorama. Looks kind of a little trippy probably because it's all in one, but this is like where we would go there's like reception over here. This is where we would go for like food and stuff. There's a little restaurant. This is where I paid one time. Okay, I paid, I think it was 89 birr, which is equivalent to like $2 maybe, $2.25, something like that. And I didn't know that, I didn't even order an appetizer, but it came with my meal. So it's like 3 thick slices of homemade bread. There's like this Ethiopian hot sauce that you're supposed to dip the bread in. It was pretty spicy. And then I got the I believe it's something called churro. So churro is basically like lentils. Like you'll see it a lot. You guys will see it coming up. You basically pour it onto your injera, and then you pick up your injera and you scoop it up and you just eat it like that. And I got a bottled water because you have to get bottled water there because the water is not safe. Usually the locals don't even drink the water too because they also know that it's not safe. You'll just get like traveler's diarrhea and stuff. So all of that was like $2.50 for like the appetizer, the main course, and the bottled water. It was so cheap. But yeah, so this is where you go for the restaurant, and then our hotel was like right here. You just go that way, and the hotel room is like behind these trees over here. And then there's like this little entrance thing over here is where you go for like another area for the hotel. These are some other rooms over here. These are some of our bags. And then there's just some people walking in. This is like the entrance over here. Looks a little bit trippy because I was like going like this. This is almost like 360 degrees for the, with this image. Is this your first trip to somewhere far? Yeah, this is my first trip out of the country, actually. I mean, it was my first destination. Technically, my first country was Canada because I had to go to Toronto to leave for Addis Ababa. There's a direct flight. So this is what I'm talking about. Like a lot of the taxis are like you see like this seat, like this is pretty common to see like a seat being like torn apart, but like still using where like in the U.S. like you would not see a seat like that. Like it would get taken care of. But there's just not as much money to go around. So that's just it's just like normal life there. And so this is a video of this is like a 3-wheel taxi you'll see, and I will shut up for 24 seconds because apparently you guys can't hear me when this is going on anyway. So this is what it's like inside of a 3-wheel taxi in Gambela. So I believe that was a school that you guys just saw, like with them playing soccer over there. I don't know how high the quality was, just because it's like trying to do this over the internet. If I were to travel anywhere else, where I were to go, I would really like to go to Europe. As much as I liked my trip, it would also be nice to travel to like a first world country. I think that London would be pretty cool. Probably Italy, Spain. You dove right in. Ethiopia is pretty insane. But you were with your friends, so that's good. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We're too spoiled here in the U.S. Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I realized, like, wow, we are spoiled. And I noticed, like, in Ethiopia, the people are just very scrappy. They're just like, you know what, if I need to do this thing, and it just needs to get done. It doesn't matter if it's, like, not the most ideal way to get it done. As long as it gets done, I don't care. So that's one... And I feel like they're just hungrier. Like if they need to get something done, they're just like, well, we're gonna do anything we gotta do to get it done. So there's stuff that I saw them doing that. I'm like, I don't think I would see very many Americans doing that. So this is we went from Gambela to kind of close to the Sudanese border, which is a little too close for comfort, because I know near the Sudanese border, I think there's like some kidnappings and stuff, especially with like white Americans. So I was a little bit hesitant. B was trying to tell me that we weren't getting that close, but I could tell from a GPS that we were. But we went from Gambela to anyway close to the border to just visit someone's family. So the local people call these the Twin Mountains, which I thought was interesting. And there's just the Twin Mountains again. It was really hard to take a picture in the car because it was like moving and stuff. And usually, like I took this on my phone, and the phone there's like a half a second delay too. So I think I'm getting one picture and I end up with another one. And there's I think the last picture of the Twin Mountains. And then this is a restaurant that we went to. The bathroom at this restaurant was so horrendous that I didn't want to take a picture, because I didn't think that anybody would ever want to see the picture of this bathroom at this place. It was a hole in the ground. Let's just say the hole was filled to the top. And there was stuff that was supposed to be in the hole, around the hole. Let's just say that. It was not clean. And yeah, that's one thing that I was just really happy when I got back to the U.S. was like, and even like Canada, when I got to Toronto airport, I was like, finally a clean bathroom. I haven't seen one of these in like 2 weeks. It makes you appreciate what we have here in the U.S. Yes, absolutely. I would love to travel, but I'm scared to go on a plane. How was your plane ride? My plane ride is pretty great. Just do your research. Try to find a safe airline, and if you're on a safe airline, you'll probably feel a lot better. Like if you can look up like how many incidents have happened, it'll probably make you feel a lot better, because I think statistically it's safer to fly on an airplane than it is to drive a car. So if you can drive, if you're okay with driving in a car, you're going to be probably safer on an airplane. I recently traveled to India and Thailand from Canada. Definitely a lot of hustling. Markets are insane. Yeah. Did Kat go with you? No, she stayed in Milwaukee. Everyone thumbs up the live stream. Oh, thanks. Anna Sullivan. Oh, I would love to go to Thailand. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a music festival. You make me laugh out loud. All right, so let's see next photo. I think that's so this is just another shot of the place. This is the food that we got, and pasta, which I was surprised. Pasta is actually a very common, popular dish in Ethiopia. Like it's part of like their Ethiopian culture. Like you'd think just Italy. I think Italy has Italy, I believe, occupied Ethiopia for a little bit. Ethiopia was never colonized though, and they love that Ethiopia was never colonized. They're very proud of that. But it was occupied by Italy for a little bit. So I think that's why pasta is like so popular there. The best pasta I have ever had though has been in Ethiopia, just like the way that they season stuff. So like you can tell it's not just like your typical like marinara sauce. And B said that a lot of times they just overcook the tomatoes to like just really bring out the flavors. You see there's like some sauteed onions and stuff in here. They really, really spice and salt the heck out of all of their food. So it's just insanely good the whole week. And I got a fork to eat the spaghetti, but you also have like a bunch of injera so that you can like, again, unroll the injera, rip off a piece, pick up your pasta and eat it with your hands. And there's many times I actually ate spaghetti with my hands. There was one time that his sister made spaghetti because she was like trying to be trying to have food available for me. So they made sure they cooked everything in oil, not butter. They made sure there's no meat in anything. They went out of their way, which I was so thankful for, and I thanked them so many times for being so accommodating for me. But she made pasta, and they didn't have any utensils to eat it with. So I was like, all right, well, when in Ethiopia, so we were all just eating spaghetti with our hands, like without the injera, just eating spaghetti. It was really interesting. Now that is a huge surprise, seeing pasta being common in Ethiopia. Yeah, I was really surprised too. Did you scoop? Yep, we did scoop it up. Now I'm hungry for spaghetti. Chiang Mai and pie. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Okay, yeah, I think I got a bunch of pictures of the spaghetti though. It's so good. Like the best spaghetti I've ever had is in Ethiopia. I was so shocked by how good it was. No, I guess not shocked by how good it was. I was shocked that it was like a very common food and also just so much better than I'd ever had before. So this is, I want to say it's a town called Etang that we were driving through. I know it's a city we're driving through. I don't know if it's Etang though, but yeah, I just want to show you guys what the cities look like. So it's just like all. So there's a lot of clothing stores, and actually pool is very popular there. There's a lot of like pool halls there. It's a lot of people do for fun. And this is a lot of the chairs and stuff that they have at restaurants. And these are actually a lot of times the tables because a lot of times you'll be sitting in like a very low chair and your table is very low too. So you're actually like kind of reaching down for your food, which is interesting. It's much different than in the U.S. Even a lot of Ethiopian restaurants in the U.S. are like you're sitting at like a table like the height of my desk and you're eating your food. Like there was one person I saw in Ethiopia. It was a white person, and they were eating their injera with a fork and knife, which don't ever do that. I would never think you would wind up in Ethiopia. I didn't either. I was telling me and B were talking about it, like the whole time. It's like I can't believe I'm here. uh, I just ate 2 vegan breakfast tacos from Mindful Baking. That sounds good. So these are the Twin Mountains again. They're there again. I think that might be the last picture. Oh, that's the last picture. And again, powels everywhere. Oh, so these are actually monkeys. I think there's actually baboons. We were driving and they're like, Craig, look, there's monkeys. So I just got a video quick before they ran into the woods. And I'm just going to play that again because I thought it was cool. But yeah, in certain parts of Africa, it's pretty normal to see them. You really wouldn't ever see them in like the city when we're in Addis Ababa. We're in Gambela and Awasa. You would see them from time to time. And this is when we were leaving Gambela. When you go into Gambela, there's like this really long bridge. I got some shots of the Nile, but whenever I got some shots of the Nile, I didn't realize at the time that there was some naked people pretty far in the background. So I just figured I probably shouldn't show that on YouTube because people just go swimming there all the time, and they just sometimes you go naked. But they're not very fond of people taking pictures of them while they're naked, if you can imagine. And this is all of the three-wheel taxis right there. I think that's a police officer right there. And oh, I'd never seen this sort of utensil before. This is when I finally got back to Addis Ababa. We were only in Gambela for like 2-3 days. But yeah, I had never seen this sort of utensil before for eating spaghetti, but it was very interesting. How many days were you in Ethiopia? I was in Ethiopia for about 2 weeks. Were you nervous going and being there? Yes, going there, not so much being there. Or there was one time, okay, I'll tell you guys about this story about when we were in a taxi. I don't need to show you guys this photo right now, so I will just let's change this to So that's that about my prison story. Uh, but I just thought it was crazy that wait, is there no sound? Oh no. Can you guys hear anything? Can you guys... Wait, I was muted the whole time? What? Alright, what was the last thing you guys heard? Can you hear me now? Yeah, oh, you can hear me now. Okay, say the whole thing. Okay, so there I was in Ethiopia. There was the three-wheel taxi, which for the new people coming here who haven't seen, this is basically what the inside of a three-wheel taxi looks like. There's the driver right here, and you can't really see it, but when they're driving, they don't have a steering wheel. They kind of have like motorcycle or like four-wheeler type of handles, I guess. And then there's a seat behind right here where I'm sitting, and there's a spot for 3 people to sit, and only 3 people can sit there. So, I'm just going to pull this up in case there's no sound again. As soon as you adjusted the camera, the sound went out. Oh, well, glad you guys can hear it now. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what happened. Okay, so we're all just sitting in the back, and we have our other friend, Abika, sitting right up here, and there's a cop who sees them. He's like, okay, well, the cop's just like, okay, well, you can't have that many people in your car, so he pulls us over. So the way that he pulled us over, maybe I can show you guys with my hands, because I tried to adjust the camera and stuff. So basically, our car is here, the cop's car is here, we get pulled over, and the cop pulls out in front of the car over here, and we're in the car right here, and Abika, who's like sitting in the front seat, gets out of the car and just books it going this way. So then the cop comes up, and we all get out of the car, and he asks the taxi driver, you know, when, or like, how many people do you have in your car? And the taxi driver's like, look, I only have 3 people in my car. And he's like, don't lie to me. I don't speak Amharic, but I think that's basically what happened. The police officer was basically like, don't lie to me. And he's like, no, look, I only have 3 people in my car. So then I just see this police officer, like, he just like cocks his arm back like this, like he's gonna like punch the guy, and like in broad daylight. It's like 5 p.m. Still a lot of people out. It's very easy to see this police officer like threatening to beat up this taxi driver. Just had 1 extra person in his car. So I was saying before I was muted, or when I was muted, I never thought that I would see someone almost getting beat up by a police officer in broad daylight for having 1 extra person in their car. And they also, the police officer like took out, like he went into his jacket, and he like pulled out a screwdriver, and he's just holding it at his side for a second while he was like talking to the guy, and I was like, oh, am I about to witness this guy getting stabbed? And then it turns out he was just gonna take off the license plate of the taxi. So like he gave him a ticket, and he was confiscating the license plate, because you have to go to the police station to pick up your license plates before you're able to start driving again. So that is how our taxi driver almost got beat up. So that was like the only time that I was kind of nervous, because like there's some person who just like a civilian just like came up to us like while it was happening, and he was like, "What's going on?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I'm just trying to stay out of it." I was pretty sure I knew what was going on, but I was like, I just want to stay out of this because I don't want to go to an Ethiopian prison. So I'm just standing here. Happens all the time right here in the US. Right, but I'm talking like there's 30 people on the street, no one thinks anything of it, whereas like, you know, a police officer would not do that in the US in front of a bunch of people. You would do that in like maybe a back alley, or you would do it on like you know, yeah, just the circumstances were a little bit more nuanced, so you'll see what I mean though. If you were there. What happened to the friend that ran? Oh, we found him again. That's the story when the police officer almost stabbed my taxi driver. Yeah, they do. So anyway. Well, basically what I was saying is like with the person getting beat up versus like happening in the U.S. Basically when everyone who was around just saw it happening, usually if like, because I know there's a lot of, I'm sure black people are like more worried in the U.S. about getting beat up by police officers for like not doing anything, whereas you might have someone like standing up to them or like recording it and like reporting it later on. In Ethiopia, I'm pretty sure that there's like, well, yeah, you had too many people in your car, so you got beat up. Like, yeah, you broke the law, you get beat up. Whereas in the U.S., there's like lawsuits and stuff, but there, I'm pretty sure it was like normal. That was what I was trying to say anyway. I don't know if that's how it came off, but this is something that I was talking about earlier called churro. So this is lentils, basically, and then you just unroll the injera on your plate, and then you just pour this in the middle of it, and then you just, again, scoop it up with the injera, just eat it like that. And I thought it was really interesting that this was at a bar. It was like a bar slash, it wasn't even like a restaurant necessarily. I think it was mostly just a bar. And I just was like, wow, you can get like food at like a bar here. It was really interesting. It was like not that far from our hotel. Yeah. So, and you know, it was actually really funny when we came into this bar. There was one other guy sitting at a table, and I don't know who sings. I'm gonna butcher this song, but you guys know the song "Mr. Lonely"? Like, there's like a chipmunk. It's like a chipmunk voice. They're like, "I'm so lonely, Mr. Lonely. I have nobody, all on my own." Something like that. Anyway. But it was really funny because that song was playing and there was one guy in the bar. I just thought it was funny when we first came in. Have you ever had Southern Indian dosa before? I don't think so. But I guess you'll have to describe exactly what that is because I don't know what that is. I'm going to go Gales and Pails. I'm just dropping by for a bit on this live. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be sipping my oat chai. Sounds good. Jane, thank you so much for the super chat. Hi Craig, looks like your trip to Ethiopia was an eye-opening experience. The prison story was scary, the food looks delicious. Well, thank you for the super chat. I don't know what I did to deserve that, but thank you. I'm going to put it right back into the channel, and thanks for coming to the live stream and listening to my Ethiopian prison story. Sing more. Alright, so let's get back to it. So yeah, this was at a bar. I think it was called V Lounge. Yeah. I wonder if I could find it if I just Google V Lounge, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Or Variety Lounge is what it was called. Yeah, there's a lot of bars and restaurants that have like American names. Like it says like right here, like Tequila Patron, Variety Bar, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Yeah, I think this is it. Let's see. Yeah, so this was the place where I was sitting. Like, you guys can see the bottles right there. I was sitting like right here, and I believe B was sitting right here, and we got injera and churro. It was really interesting. And I guess so. The bar where we were is like over here, and I think this part of the restaurant might have been closed, probably because there weren't that many people. Like I said, it was us and one other person, so you're not gonna have that much staff on hand at any one time. It was pretty late when we went there. But yeah, there's a lot of places that have like they'll have like live bands playing like traditional music. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Hold on a second. There we go. Did you get drunk in Ethiopia? I actually don't drink. I started not drinking initially because I had pretty poor balance due to my autoimmune disease. So I was like, well, combining being drunk and not having good balance doesn't sound like a fun night for me. It sounds like I would get hurt. And then when I was put on medication for my autoimmune disease, prednisone, if you combine it with alcohol, can cause stomach ulcers. Again, not something that I wanted to experience. And then I also heard later on that alcohol can sometimes cause flare-ups with people who have chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. So I was like, again, something I don't want to have a flare-up. So I just don't drink for that reason. And I've never really liked the taste, and I probably save money by doing that too. So it's your boy, says Wajida. Thanks for stopping by, Wajida. I always see you in the comments and stuff and the live stream. So thanks for always being there for me, Wajida. I'm old. I just know the Vinton version. LOL. How's the music? Ethiopian jazz is awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of Ethiopian music. There's a lot of American music being played at places, but there's a lot of Ethiopian music. Some was just instrumental. Some had Amharic language in it, which is like very interesting. And like some of B's friends knew a lot of the songs. They were just like singing along to them, which is cool. So this is the view from a hotel that we stayed at called Kenenisa Hotel. So what's interesting about Kenenisa Hotel is there is a famous runner named Kenenisa Bekele, and apparently when you become a famous runner in Ethiopia, when you get a bunch of money, you buy buildings. So this is called Kenenisa Hotel, and then there's another runner named Haile Gebrselassie. He owns a mall, I believe, there, and I think that Tirunesh Dababa owns some type of building too. I mean, it just, their famous runners are like famous in their country, whereas like here in the U.S., most people probably don't know who Alan Webb is, you know. It's just completely different over there. And I noticed, like, so usually you'll see like metal scaffolding here in the U.S. Let's see if I can zoom in. I can't zoom in any more than that. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So you'll see wood scaffolding, and it's like kind of like gnarly looking wood scaffolding in Ethiopia, which is very different. Probably not as sturdy, but that's what they got there. Yeah, and there's a lot of unfinished buildings. This is like across from the hotel. And then this is the I was on a balcony kind of like this. I was right here taking a picture going that way before, and now I'm you know, taking a picture looking this way. So this is the mountain. This is the stadium that you guys saw from the other hotel that we were at. And this is just from the view, like inside the hallway. You can see I'm like looking through a window actually. But this is just this really beautiful church over here. Christian Orthodox is probably the most popular religion in Ethiopia. There's also a pretty big Muslim population. I think there's even quite a few Jews in Ethiopia too. But it's mostly, I think, Christian Orthodox and then like some Muslim. Why Ethiopia? So, just my friend who is grew up in Ethiopia. Every year he always asked me if I wanted to go visit him and his family, and I finally had the time and the money, and I did a little bit of research, and I was like, oh, it's a bit safer than I thought it was. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go. And I got my passport just this past summer, so I was just, I want to travel, but I don't want to go by myself. Like, I want to travel with my friends. And he was the first friend to offer going somewhere else in the world, so I just said yes. The scenery and pictures are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, it was a really beautiful country. Is that where the underground churches are? Underground churches? I've never heard of that. Oh, so this is our friends Abika, Danny, and me. We're just on our way to Awasa. From Addis Ababa is like close to 6 hours for a car ride, but on the way there it was really interesting. You'll see all the stuff I saw on the side of the road in just a second. I took a picture here because I was like, this highway just looks like the U.S. Like, it doesn't. I could tell you this was in like Pennsylvania, and probably believe me. We got these tea biscuits at some, I don't think it was a gas station, just a convenience store. We had to go to the bathroom. We picked up some snacks, and they were just accidentally vegan. They were really good. So this is the restaurant that we went to here. This is I really like the shot, but it does look a little bit warped because it's a panorama. So I think he was leaning in as I was taking this, so his head looks a little weird. But it's pretty common to see restaurants in Ethiopia with trees just in the restaurant, which is super cool. And like mango juice is very popular there. Really good. You'll see what I got in just a second. Yeah, here's a less warped photo. But yeah, soccer being played on the TVs is very, very common there. Soccer is like the big sport there. Soccer and then probably track. Never travel alone. Travel with friends that know the area you're visiting. Yeah, exactly. Yes, because like B grew up there the first half of his life. these guys, I don't think have ever left Ethiopia, and that these two at least spoke English. He might have spoke a couple words. He was just our driver to get to Awasa. Um, but yeah, they all helped me navigate everything pretty easily because it was very different. Mango juice sounds about yeah, it was really good. Speaking of snacks, what are the big ones? Definitely, do they have chips? If so, what flavor? I didn't see any chips. They might though, but yeah. So this is jalapenos actually, and this is just like spicy furfur, which I think a lot of furfur is spicy. And B's friends were surprised that I was eating this and like not having like guzzled drinks because I guess I'm good with spicy food, but they were like, "Wow, I'm surprised. I wouldn't expect Americans to be as good with spicy food." But yeah, it was really, really good. Like this is, again was fasting furfur. So when I say when they say something's fasting, that just means without meat. So most things that are fasting are vegan, just because dairy is very hard to get a hold of in Ethiopia. So this just happened to be vegan. And again, this is just deep fried injera, and you actually eat it with more injera, which you can see right here. You just like they give you like a roll of it. You just kind of unroll it, rip off a piece, and pick it up and eat it like that. And they also had bread right here, and you can see, unfortunately, they're eating fish over here. I'll just fast forward to the next picture so you don't have to look at a dead fish. I just took pictures of these trees because they're just trees, but they're so fascinating. They're like I noticed like the difference between like these trees and normal deciduous trees that you'd see like in the U.S. is like there's usually very thick trunks, and they have like a lot of branches all over shooting up, and they're just very straight. Whereas these ones have they're like very narrow trunks. They're like kind of slanted and not that many main branches. Obviously, there's a lot of like little branches and stuff, but like there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 branches here, or like big ones. 1, 2 branches over here. Like I just thought it was so interesting. And I think I tried to get a view of this mountain over here, but it was blocked by the trees. And yeah, I just thought that the trees looked cool. And then these houses, I thought these houses looked kind of cool. And like the mountains in the background, they probably just have a cool view from their backyard. Although I feel like after a while, the view kind of like, you're just like, yeah, it's just my view of my backyard. Like you just probably take it for granted. You don't have to tell me the specifics. Was the plane ticket that expensive? Yeah, it was like, I mean, for what it was, I think it was a good price, but it was like $800 round trip if you go economy, which I think is pretty reasonable for a 13-hour flight there, and then it was 16 hours back from Addis Ababa to Dublin, and then 45-minute layover in Dublin, and then Dublin to Toronto. So, $800, I don't think it's too bad. If you take a really long time eating, is it just called a fasting meal? You're good with the jokes today, Jorge. Yeah, so there's a traffic jam here. It happened a lot. Donkeys, cows, goats. I don't think I saw any pigs. I saw some chickens, obviously not in huge herds like this, but a lot of people have like pet chickens. But yeah, donkeys and cows walking through the streets all the time. Dios mío, $800. And yeah, I just thought this looked really cool, just with the trees, and I just like the trees. I don't know, this might be, so I think these are goats over here. So what's interesting in Ethiopia is if you own goats and pigs and stuff, instead of feeding them, what you do is you just let them loose for the day, and then you collect them at the end of the day. But they just go and eat grass or whatever it is that they eat throughout the day, and then they come home. And yeah, I just thought it was interesting that this like forest is not very populated. There's like a tree every 50 feet or so. Oh, I really like this view, like this hill slash like almost like cliff. It's like very, very steep. But yeah, I just thought it looked really cool. And yeah, you can see more animals over here. There's animals everywhere. I think these are goats. Yeah, goats and cows are probably the most prevalent animals, even in the cities. So this is Awasa. Awasa was definitely one of the cleaner cities that we were in. Awasa was the cleanest. Addis Ababa was kind of dirty, but not that bad. Gambela, nothing against Gambela, but certain parts were just filthy because they don't really have like a proper sewer system, and B and I were talking about that too. Like they don't really have good proper like garbage pickup, and it's kind of think just kind of like one of those things where like if your city's already kind of dirty, then like you don't really mind just like eating something, just like throwing the cup on the ground or throwing the, whatever. People just like throw stuff on the ground, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's because the city's already dirty, so they're like, oh, what the hell? Like this is just how we live, which is really unfortunate. But Awasa is pretty clean, so it was a nice break to come to Awasa for a couple days. So the reason we came to Awasa was because B was a refugee at an orphanage for about a year or so, and that was in Awasa. And then every time he comes back to Ethiopia, he likes to go down to Awasa and visit everybody at the orphanage, like all the little kids. Like he went to the orphanage, and all the kids were like playing soccer, and they see him, and they just like Bonkath, and they just like come running over to him and start talking to him. A lady from Ethiopia used to work with me. Her friend visited here in Virginia and was excited about strawberries. She had never had them before, so I bought her a case. Did you see strawberries there? No, I did not. I saw they have a lot of mangoes, papaya, bananas, oranges, watermelon. Yeah, that was the most common ones I saw. And then there's like other like vegetables too. Like there are a lot of like collard greens, tomatoes, carrots, I think, and just stuff like that. So apparently this is a very famous statue. I guess we call it a statue. The statue has stairs. Monument, I guess. But yeah, if you Google Awasa, I think that popped up, like Awasa, Ethiopia. I think Awasa starts with an H, like H-A-W. Let's see if it pops up. H-A-W-A-S-S-A. Ethiopia. Awasa, Ethiopia. Yeah, this literally the first image that pops up is this one right here. So this we were like right here, and this is the monument right there. So yeah, you can see like this is the main street. There's a roundabout, and there's like I said, there's not that many streets. There's just like these, like there's some side streets, but there's like maybe 5 main streets or so. This is also the same monument. It does look really cool though. Very photogenic. Oh, so this is where we were. So Addis Ababa is like right here. Awasa is right here, and Gambela is over here. Awasa is like it's like a 6-hour car ride. If we go from here to Gambela, though, it would have been like 13 hours. So we're like, yeah, we're gonna drive. And it's not really that far. It's just mostly it's hilly, and there's a lot of potholes. You have to slow down. There's a lot of like patrols. So like every like 50 miles or so, you'll have to get out of your car. You get patted down by like the police officers. They ask you where you're going, why you're going there. Again, it's like every 50 miles. So you get stopped all the time. It adds up. And also, like I said, there's not a whole lot of roads, so it'll be like kind of winding, going places that like you don't want. Like maybe you want to go here, but like you might have to go like all the way up here before you come back. Well, you guys couldn't see my hand, but maybe like you want to go from Addis Ababa, and maybe it's like whoa, like that just to get there. So it'd be like 13, 14 hours just to get there. Anyway, so. Looks like an upside down ink pen. Yeah, so cool that B goes back to the orphanage to visit. So I thought this is funny. Maybe you guys will notice it, but this is Club 7-Eleven. Tell me if you guys notice anything about this that's a little bit off. I think that's how they got away with calling it Club 7-Eleven. Well, there's such a delay. Maybe I can't wait for you guys to answer. Because it's like a 5 or 6 second delay before you guys actually hear me. And then it's, a couple seconds before you guys can write it. And then a couple seconds later. Yeah, it says 7LV. Yeah. We didn't even notice that at first because we were all just like, we're out. We went to like 5 different clubs at night. I was sober. Everyone else was like drinking a little bit. But yeah, it took me a second until I looked at the picture and I was like, wait, it doesn't say 7-Eleven. It says 7LV. I think that's how they got away with calling it that. You had to be a Lord of the Rings fan to go there. Tolkien World. So this is, I think, this is inside the Club 7-Eleven. It was really cool. Yeah, a lot of the clubs there were pretty cool. Oh, so this dance you guys are about to see, B was telling me that this is like a, I think, southern Ethiopian traditional dance. So you know this is what they're dancing. This is Club Five or something like that. Some Five Lounge. I don't know. Five something is like what this place is called. But anyway, this is Danny, Abika, and Blumkuth dancing. And then you'll see in just a second, B got into like a dance off with some girl. He just saw this girl and he was like, all right, she's dancing. I'm gonna have a dance off with her. So you'll see that in just a second. I was kind of, I didn't really have that much storage on my phone. Otherwise, I would have just kept recording the whole thing. But I didn't know how, like, you know, what I'm gonna take videos and pictures of. So I always want to save some space. So there's little bits and pieces of their dance off. Also, this is just Seven Lounge. That's what it's called. This is like this was like kind of outside a little bit. Like there's a roof right here, and then there's like no roof like over here. It's interesting. There's a lot of places like that that are like very half outside. All the bars have numbers. Yeah, a lot of them do. Those are like he just went over there. I keep forgetting that whenever I show this stuff, you guys can't hear me. But yeah, he like just went over there and just started this dance off. So then it's a little bit more recording right here. And then I think this might be the end of it right here. He's just a very, very outgoing guy. It's gonna be hard to raise the roof then. Be Lord of the Dance, yeah. I just took a picture of this. This is from our hotel in Awasa. I just thought the tree just looked so cool. There's like I said, there's a lot of cool trees, and so this is the same tree right here, just from like the balcony. You can't really see it, but part of the hotel comes up over here beyond this tree. And I think I was just like on the phone with Kat or like my parents or something like that. I was on the phone with someone. I saw a toucan. There's two toucans that were right there, and then they flew over my head. It was so cool because I've only seen toucans on like a Fruit Loop box, but then I saw them in real life, and it was pretty cool. They have really big beaks. There's some really big birds. You guys are going to see some really big pelicans pretty soon, actually. Oh, right here. Yep, that's where they are. Abika borrowed my phone to like take pictures while I was taking pictures. So some of the pictures I took, some of the pictures he took. Yeah, this is B with all the kids from the orphanages. These two are not kids. They work there. They're like, you know, keeping track of the kids and stuff. But yeah, so these are the pelicans. You can see this is like where their gullet gets a lot bigger, so you can store fish and water. And we went to, it's kind of like a park that just had like a lot of animals. There's goats. Yeah, you can see there's goats here too. We found some monkeys that you'll see in just a second. But yeah, there's some close-ups of these pelicans. They look kind of scared. They look kind of like dead old men, kind of. And these people had like some food that they were throwing. They had like this bag of food. And a lot of people in Ethiopia, like we were talking about earlier, when they're like hustling, they will basically do something, provide a sort of a service, and then they'll tell you that it costs money afterwards. So they just kept following us, telling us that like we had to pay them for him throwing food to the pelicans. Eventually, it was like a 100 or 200 birr, which I think was like $3 to $6. So we're like, whatever, just take it and just leave us alone. Yeah, just more pelicans. Like I said, they're kind of creepy. Their legs are huge. They're really big birds. They were actually, these birds were so big that like when they would actually start flying, you could like hear them. Like their wings were like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sounds just like them, right? It's like they're here. Did B at least get the girl's email, phone number, a date? No, he was literally just having a dance off. I don't know if he even talked to her. He was just dancing. He just really likes to dance. If you see two cans, does that make it a 4 can? Guys, I'm from Ethiopia. Well, cool. Maybe you can comment about some stuff that I'm talking about then. Um, I did a thing. Give me money. Yeah, kind of. Did people ask to get pictures with you often? Not often. There's one time, and I have a picture of me getting my picture with the guy. But a lot of people there just want to talk to you because they just want to practice their English because they see that you're white. And they just assume that you're American. Like whereas there's this kid over here. He's working at the orphanage too. He's from Germany, so he speaks German. He also spoke pretty good English pretty well. He's learned to speak Amharic. I think he knew like Italian or something too. Yeah. They're pretty excited about the storks, although the pelicans, although she seems a little scared. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. They just look like dead and just like they're decaying right in front of you, especially like the ones that have like more black on them. I don't know if it's like from the water or what. Oh yeah, so there's the monkeys. They're like trying to give the monkeys food. There's a couple different types of monkeys at this park. I don't know what kind of monkeys these were though. This is the other type of monkey. I think there's only these two though. Alright, so it's Danny with the monkeys on his head. He's just like face planted into his hand because he had some nuts or seeds or something. Yeah, it's nuts, like peanuts or something. And there's Abika with the monkey on his head. And there's both of them with a monkey on Abika's head. And then they were getting food. They pretty much always got a bunch of fish, so I didn't eat any of this. We went to another place shortly after and got something called bienes, which I'm probably saying with an accent, but it's basically just like your whole big plate of injera with you have a bunch of food on the outside, and then you just rip up your injera, scoop up your like churro, which is like lentils or potatoes, beets, whatever it is that you have on your injera. But yeah, this is a pretty gnarly looking pelican. Pretty close up. I like this picture probably the most. I feel like you can see the pelican like up. I think this is the closest one I got. Very skinny legs. Yeah, their feet are huge. This bird was like at least probably like 3 feet tall or so. I think the next photo. Let's see what the next photo is. Yeah, so this next photo, if you're particularly squeamish, maybe you won't like the next photo, but there's no like bodily fluids or anything. I think it's probably fine. Oh, actually, first we were trying to figure out what this back thing is, this red thing. All of them had like these red things on the back of them. But anyway, the next picture after that, some people might find kind of gross. But see, like they all have like this red thing there. Oh, yeah, that's it. Basically a urinal. I just thought that this was one of the bathrooms. Not all the bathrooms look like this, but this was probably the second grossest bathroom that I went to because the first grossest bathroom, so gross, I didn't want to take a picture of it. And if you have to go number 2, I'm pretty sure they had just a room with a hole in the ground. So yeah, it's very different. I was really glad to be back to the U.S. It looks like a big flask. Yeah. And I guess the plumbing just went in the wall behind it. Yeah. So that's where you go to the bathroom. And there's like almost anywhere you went, there was really nowhere to dry your hands. Most of the places had this like blue soap. It was kind of coarse. I think it was coarse for like exfoliating. It was blue soap though, which is interesting. And like all the pump soap was usually watered down because I think they just wanted to save money, but then you end up just squirting more soap, so I feel like you end up using the same. I don't know. But yeah, so we went on this boat. It cost I think like 50 birr, which is like $1.50 to go on this lake and just like we're on there for like 15 minutes, just like taking pictures and stuff, and it was pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, there's the Ethiopian flag. So it was really, really pretty lake. I don't know what kind of lake it was though. There's the thumbnail for this video, or the live stream. And I think coming up is a shot of someone who wanted to get a picture with me. I have no idea who he was. Yeah, right there. I was like, why? You want to get a picture with me? Okay. Oh yeah, so this is after we were leaving Awasa. There's just like, I couldn't even fit everything in here. I've never seen like a yard just like so filled with shipping containers, like a shipping yard, whatever you call it. Like there's a train station right nearby. But it's just, I've never seen so many. Like I said, I couldn't, it probably went all the way over, like way far over here. It's just so big. And I just thought this mountain range looked really cool. Better than straight on the ground, yeah. Glad to see you wore the life vest. Thanks, Mom. I missed it. Why were you there? So my friend Blomkuth, he grew up in Ethiopia, and he goes back every year to visit his family. Every year he asks me if I want to go back and visit. This year I finally said yes, so that's why I went. Did you bring anything from there? Yeah. So you will see actually pretty soon how I got this bracelet that says Ethiopia, but now I just keep this on my around my speaker on my desk. But yeah, you guys will see pretty soon. Yeah, so this is another shot of the mountain range, same thing. And this is just like a shot of a lot of the just empty buildings, because like I said, they'll start building and then they'll run out of funding and then they just can't keep building, and then it's just, you have like tons of like, I was just like probably close to 100 of these buildings like just right in here. Just, I couldn't even fit them all in here, and it just goes really far back too. They ugly birds. Yeah, they are pretty ugly. Everyone should have to go to a third world country. It sure does make you appreciate home. Yeah, it really does. Did you bring enough for the class? Did you buy a data plan before going, or buy a SIM card there? Yeah, so I had to buy a SIM card when I was there. That's a couple days before we did that. We had to go. I brought one of my old phones. This is a Galaxy S9 Plus. I brought that to Ethiopia. And we went to some phone store and they unlocked it within a couple minutes, because it was originally locked to Verizon, but they unlocked it pretty quickly. And then we had to go down the street to get an Ethio Telecom SIM card, and then I was able to contact my family. And since a lot of people there don't have addresses, a lot of people don't have credit cards, it's like a very cash country. I don't think that anybody has any phone plans there. You just have to buy minutes. So you'll buy minutes for like texting, for calling, for data, for all that stuff. You know, you can buy them on like a street corner. You can buy them like almost anywhere. You can buy them all over the place. But yeah, everyone just has like calling cards there basically. You just buy minutes. And there's a lot of telephone poles that were like made out of like kind of jagged wood like this. And there's like, you know, some other street lights and poles that look like this though, which is very different. Oh, and this is a really cute video of B trying to get his niece Nyapel. He's trying to get her to say cat. I don't know what the word in Newer is. Okay, so B's family is a tribe called Newer, and like B is called a tribe called Newer, and it's a Sudanese tribe. So they speak a tribal language called Newer, whereas like the rest of the country speaks Amharic. So English was actually B's third language. So he's trying to teach her how to say cat in English, but he's trying to mimic a cat, like what a cat does, and then she just starts mimicking it, and it's really cute. Alright, I'm just gonna do that one again because it's just so cute. There's an Instagram post you guys might have seen by now that of me and her, and it was just really cute. She was just the cutest. Everyone loves her because she's so cute. I don't even know if she knows how cute she is. Oh, and here B's trying to teach her how to count. And you'll hear another person. It's his nephew over here. He's getting pretty good at English. So when B was saying the numbers, if you hear another voice, that's his cousin over here, or his nephew over here. But his niece, he was trying to get her to count to stuff. I think this is the one where he's counting in the 70s. So he tells her like 70, 76, 77, 78. But you'll probably be able to hear by the last couple because this audio's not the greatest. But when she tries to say 70, she said like deputy. She's like deputy 6, deputy sebid, deputy. I don't know, she's just, like thinks that she's saying it, but it's really cute that it's so far off.
76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81.
I'm gonna do it again.
76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81.
Oh yeah, so what's her face? Sandra just said I love you post on Instagram. Yeah, she that was I think her first English words that she learned was I love you, but she always says ah yeah too. And then me and B tried to tell her that my name is Craig, but she kept saying Kuas. There's like an S in my name, so I forgot exactly what it was. It was Kuas, Kuyes, something like that. But yeah, she couldn't say my name. Because there's a lot of names that I think they think are like very easy to pronounce because they're just so used to it. So like his other sister's name, which her mom, actually his name is Nyabwai. But it took me a while to learn how to like properly say like Nyabwai. And whereas like I feel like Craig is a pretty easy to say name, but they're like his uncle thought my name was Cry, even though I specifically told like, he spoke okay English. But I told him how it was pronounced, but it seemed like he had already decided that my name was Cry. No matter what I said, it was just Cry. I was like, okay, yep, yeah, my name is Cry. So there's Cry, there's Kuyes, Kuya, Kureg. That was probably the closest one that I said that. I was like, yeah, that's basically it, yeah. Wait, who are they? Like, how did you meet them? They're all B's family. I met B just from running track together in high school. So this is, we went to a restaurant. This is, again, fasting furfur. I ate furfur a lot. So it's just deep fried injera, eaten with more injera. And this is, I think, breakfast from one of our last days. This is just like some potatoes, some rice. They eat dinner. It seems like for them over there, dinner food is every meal food, even breakfast. Like this is eaten with injera, or like this is kind of like I think like a wheat chip. Like it's like very sturdy, like wheat bread, not bread, like flat bread type chip, something like that. It was really good though, nice and crunchy. Oh, so they played Careless Whisper when we're at the restaurant for breakfast. So I just made this quick little video. So they have Careless Whisper even in Ethiopia. Old uncle making up names, yeah. Same with the Southern Indian food, dude. Savory all day, pretty much. Yeah. So this is my shoes. I forgot to take the picture before we took the laces out, but they have people who will like clean your shoes for. They only asked for like 15 burr, but I just gave them 100 burr, and I was just like told them to keep the change, which is like a huge amount of profit for doing this, because like he makes profit off of like 15 burr, which is like 50 cents, and I gave him like $3, so it's like huge. But yeah, so I think he did a pretty good job. This is what it looked like before, and then this is what it looked like after. Oh, let's get done. I think it was a pretty good job. And the laces are very white. They're like kind of grayed and dusty and stuff, dirty. yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. And this is on the top of a mountain. I actually took this with my camera. B, I think, thought that I was taking a picture, but I was actually taking a video, so I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, come on.
Hold on, man. He's taking picture. He's taking picture of me playing.
Yeah, this is definitely a picture.
Yeah, he's taking.
No, it's a video.
Like, you want any of these?
Yeah.
So you can see those little kids, they had like some instrument that they were selling, and they were selling like necklaces and bracelets and stuff. Yeah, it was really interesting. Just like seeing people just out there hustling, even on the top of a mountain, because there's a village at the top of the mountain, which you'll see pretty soon. This one, this video, I'll show you in a second after I get back to these comments. You either make normal dinner food or eat leftovers for breakfast. That's kind of what I do all the time, so it was pretty cool to see a whole country doing that. George, you don't know its name, you're fired. I don't know. Is your name George or Jorge? I don't know. Give me a third chance, Vegeta. Third, what about second chance? Diversity in just one clip, yeah. So this video, I just thought it was kind of funny because Danny was the one who had the camera, and I think he just didn't know that he was recording.
So this right here.
For like 3 minutes. More of the feet.
First tree. This is it. This one.
Shoes.
Here it is.
The grass.
Let's do it. What is it?
And
Oh, yeah, you guys.
now. Oh yeah, so I think at this point, yeah, so we went to.
1883.
Oh, yeah, you guys touching it?
Yeah, so you guys are probably seasick by now, but yeah, I think Danny just didn't know that he was recording a video. Okay, Jorge. Yeah, so I did get it right. Did you go to any major cities? Yeah, so this is a major city. This is called Addis Ababa. This is like the New York City of Ethiopia. So this is just like 4.5 minutes of driving through Ethiopia. You guys won't be able to hear me for the next like 4.5 minutes or so, so I'll just let this run and you guys can see what it's like driving through downtown Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
So irun benebe no? Okay. Jadi kada cemanda kalau irun kecengda yang re yang tahu benebe no. Okay. So dia lecien dulu ni kon kawai deh. Iya jadi gua ada potong. I want to be able to the government. Okay. Ini jalan.
ነው የሚያስወጡት?
እዚህ ጋር እንግዲህ ግን ነው የሚያሳየው።
ሀሳብ አቋራጭ እኔ በዚህ ጋር መጥቼ ይቻላል።
ሀሳብ አቋራጭ በሌሊት በዚህ ጋር ነው።
ታችን በሲግናል ጋር
So yeah, now you guys kind of got a taste for what it's like driving in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. I have this other clip right here. It's a little bit shorter, but I'm gonna play this one too. But you'll probably notice that like there's Linda said, like there's no traffic lights, no speed limit signs, roundabout with no signals. People just walk into traffic. You'll see that even more actually in this clip. And one thing I noticed is like people will basically they generally follow the rules of the road. Like they'll pretty much stick to like the right side goes this way and the left side goes this way. Driving on the right side of the road and stuff. But there was also one time when I first got there, there was like this big festival going on. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was like some Orthodox Christian festival, and one of the roads was blocked off. So there was kind of like this one where there's like you go this way over here, and then you go this way over here, and there's a median in between. Except there's a median the whole way that you would have to drive over if you want to get to the other side. So our driver. He's like a taxi driver. It's like, oh, this way is really crowded because there's like a huge crowd up here. So he started driving this way. He saw that there's huge crowd, and then what he does, he just turns around, starts driving the opposite way down like this side of the street. Starts driving this way, and no one really thinks anything of it. Like no one in the car is like, whoa, this is crazy, this is weird, or anything like that. And like all the cars that are coming at him from the opposite way are just moving over so he can just drive through. So they're just like, yeah, well, sometimes you just gotta drive the opposite way down the road. And then also, like a couple seconds later, he's like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go to the other side of the road. Maybe I'll just like hop the median. So he tries to drive over the median like 3 times, and then he can't. And then he just eventually starts just driving down the proper way and just waits. And one thing I noticed too is like, a lot of the places like in Addis Ababa, they don't have like construction cones or anything. They don't have like any way to like block off streets, so they just use like rocks. They use like really big rocks and big logs to block off streets. So it's pretty interesting. And one thing I noticed too is they generally follow the rules of the road. Like I said, for the most part, they'll stick to the one, driving one way means one way. But if there is a opening in the road that's about the size of your car, you just go in. You just go in. Doesn't matter if you're in between lanes. Doesn't matter if you're in between cars. You just swoop right in. And people cut each other off all the time. And no one really thinks anything of it. They're just like, well, that's how we drive here. No one like really gets offended too much when you cut someone off because everything is just like very close quarters anyways. And everyone just like is kind of keeping an eye out for stuff like that happening anyway. And like say you have to turn, there's really no laws for turning that I know of. I think that they would basically just put their turn signal on and sort of start creeping in, and eventually someone will stop and let you in. Like if you were to be like driving right here and then trying to turn over here, you would basically just put your blinker on and start creeping in until someone stopped. And people you do usually stop relatively soon. But anyway, I will let you guys watch this last one before we go on to the next stuff. This one is probably a little bit more crazy, but anyway, this is Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
You say your idea wasn't your idea, so it's very nice. Now we gotta go to videotape it. So now we gotta go to sometime maybe after we come back from Gambela, Awasa, then we go to one more park in Ethiopia, Addis. Yeah. First we go to Awasa, yeah. Then we come back, spend the time, go see the hobby area. How do they even know without GPS all this? GPS እኛ እንኳን የራሱ ቤት አጣል ውጭ ሀገር አዛ ጊዜ ላይ የራሱ ቤት ቢኖሩ በቃ GPS take me off land. Hey,
What?
look at how they're using just their mind, no GPS.
Yeah, I know.
But at home you can't even find your own address without GPS. This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like all these taxi drivers, you tell them where you go, and then they take you without even knowing. And the city is just as big as New York City. They don't have an address. Addresses. What is downtown? Yeah, that's my girlfriend telling me that. Okay. In total, okay. Okay, now we got 15. We did. Oh, not yet. Oh, yeah.
National Museum, we have seen it.
Yeah, so 2 check. Okay.
Right here, this one. Right there, the one, the statue. He takes the picture.
I take the picture?
No, he takes the picture.
The statue over there? Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
3. Mascot Square, it's not.
Yeah, right here, Mascot. Yeah, right here. Oh, so it's just the downtown one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where they have the meeting?
እዛ የሆነ መንገድ መጣ ነው በዛው ነበር ሚዲ ነበር
Are we in Maganaya?
በዛው በቀበና ጋር ምናምን
What kind of car is that? They didn't know
እዛ ነበር ሾላ ጋር ትንሽ ይዘጋጋ ነው
ይሄ መገናኛ ነው Highway? Oh. This is 24th. Correct.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of traffic, huh?
So you'll probably notice like a lot of honking too. They basically just like communicate through honking. Like if you're coming up behind someone, you just like honk like just tap on the horn until you're past them a lot of times. What the heck? They nearly hit you and ran a guy over, but no one cared. Yeah, that's just driving there. Like, you can come like this close to hitting somebody in Ethiopia, and the person who almost gets hit doesn't think anything of it because they're like, yeah, you're driving. Like, you can, as long as you don't hit me, who cares? That's basically how it is. Like, no one thinks anything of it if you almost hit someone, because it's just so crowded. People used to get places without GPS 20 years ago. Cabbies learned the addresses. Yeah, you just tell them where you want to go, and they're like, okay. It's a huge city, and they still know where to go. Do B's friends consider him to be really Americanized? I know that they said that he kind of has a little bit of an accent now, but no, I feel like, they all just think that he's still B. I mean, he really is. He doesn't like think he's too good for them or anything. So I think that I think they just see B as B. Well, no one calls him B there because the only reason they call him B here is because no one can properly say Blomquist. A lot of people, I've heard people say Bumkoo. Other people say Bumkith, Boomkith. Before I knew how to say his name, I thought his name was Boomkith. And a lot of his teammates in high school, we didn't run on the same team, we ran on rival teams actually, but a lot of the kids on his team call it Bumkith. So people just call him B. It's a lot shorter and easier. He doesn't have to correct people then. Is B vegan? He is not. Although he told me, he was like, dude, with how cheap you're eating, maybe I should go vegan. Like, he was kind of joking around about the whole time. And then he was like, all this food has been really good. And a lot of it just happened to be vegan. So, he thinks about it every now and then. So this is like just a pretty popular monument. It's like a roundabout. Obviously not as busy as the last time. I think the last time was like during rush hour. I lived in West England for a few years and came back to London. Everyone thought I sounded like a yokel. That's funny. Oh, see, another abandoned building right here too. They're all over the place. I just thought this was interesting. Just like a guy driving with like his kid. I think they're probably on the job, construction or something. So this is the throne of Emperor Gebre Selassie. It's like the first Ethiopian emperor or something like that. It's like probably early 1900s, late 1800s. Or maybe this is the first one. I don't know. They're both significant thrones for some reason. I couldn't remember everything that that was in the museum because there's a lot in this museum. There's a lot of just really beautiful paintings like this. Like there's a war going on over here. There's like fires over here, and just like so much going on in one painting. Really beautiful paintings. Some of them are pretty old. Some of them were from like the 80s. Some of them were from like early 2000s. Yeah, this is all of us. I looked extra white because I had some sunscreen on. Yeah. I really like that one, that painting too. These are all, I believe, maybe some kind of religious jewelry or something like that from a long time ago. Same with this. There's a lot of beautiful jewelry there. And this was the head, this is the skull of an elephant, which is pretty crazy. It's like an elephant relative. This is like the tusks that they had, very different from a elephant today that we think of. Let's see, it's called, I'm going to try to pull this up. I already looked it up the other day. So this is what this skull is from. Looks like this sort of animal. Like an elephant relative. Although these ones have the tusks going down, I'm pretty sure the tusks are just like going out like this. Where did it go? There it is. Yeah, so these tusks are just going out. Yeah, there's the teeth. The eye sockets, I think. Probably where the trunk was. Yeah, it's crazy. When I first saw this, I thought it was like a warthog thing or something like that, but it's an elephant skull. And this is a really big elephant skull. This one thing right here is one tooth. You'll see how big it is in a second because we're posing next to it, but it's just Huge. It looks like a boulder. And this is one vertebrae. And you can see this is B standing over here. There's one piece of vertebrae over here, one piece of vertebrae over here. So the whole vertebrae would be about like this size. Just massive. There's the other side of it. This is the teeth right here. And that's the skull right there. Let's see if we can see what it was called. Huh. Is this the same animal? Diathorum bozasi? Oh, same one, I guess. But yeah, this is just a much bigger one, apparently. It's huge, though. I think this is probably the craziest thing at the museum. Were you in a taxi or was B? Oh, we were in a taxi. B didn't drive the whole time we were there. I'm still stressed from the traffic in the last video. That was crazy. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Was there a market crash there? Is that why all the new construction halted? Also, it's so green. Is it mostly green outside the city? Were you able to see the mountains in East Africa? We didn't really see. We could like see the mountains in the distance, which is pretty cool. It was so green. They just recently got done with the rainy season, so they don't have like a cold season and a warm season. They just have a dry season and a wet season. So we were in the dry season. B planned this trip so that he could escape the cold in the U.S. and be here for the dry season in Africa, which is like perfect timing. No, from what I am aware of, I don't think there's a market crash. I think it's just because it's a third world country and a lot of people will like start building something, run out of funding, and then they'll just start something else. And B said something about like a lot of Chinese people will come in and start building stuff. Then they use their own people to build it, and then they leave. It was something that B would be able to know more about that, though. Elephants are the world's strongest land mammals. I don't doubt it. That boy was chonk. B for buff. Oh my god, I want to go to Addis super soon. It was pretty cool. Definitely make sure to bring a plug adapter because all their plugs are, I think, M-type plugs, and we have C-type plugs or something like that. So instead of like having vertical slots, I think in Europe too they have a lot of them. Like in Africa, where like there's just like circular holes when you plug stuff in. So definitely get a plug adapter because I asked B, I was like, oh, should I get a plug adapter? And he was like, no, you don't need it. Every place has them. And a lot of places didn't have them. So I was going to bring them. Then he was like, you don't need it. I was like, all right. So bring them. Yeah, B is taking us to the gun show. Yeah. B live in the U.S. Yeah, he lives in Buffalo, New York. And that's his friend. His friend's name is Kat, but everyone calls him John. So I don't know how that works out. But that's all of us, and I couldn't get a picture without one of us moving. So this is some other animal, and this is the teeth. I forgot what animal this is. Maybe it's another elephant. A lot of elephants. And that might just be one tooth, actually. Third molar. Yeah, this is just one tooth from an elephant. I think a lot of this was like hidden underneath the gums, though. From what I remember seeing at the museum. Yeah, you can see this is the Amharic writing. Third lower molar of Elephas Shungurensis. Probably butchered that, but this is what pops up when you type this in. Which, the teeth look pretty similar. So this looks pretty similar to, modern day elephants. Maybe it is modern day elephants. Anyway, an Asian elephant ancestor, Omo Valley, southwestern Ethiopia. And this one is Ardi. So this is not Lucy. It was just like also like one of the oldest skeletal remains of a early human ancestor. Is as much as they have. They have a little bit more pieces of Artie than they do Lucy. This partial skeleton, also nicknamed Artie, was excavated in 1994 and 1995 and is considered female because of the particularly small canines and skull. She stood about 120 centimeters tall and weighed about 45 to 50 kilograms, about the same size as a female chimpanzee. Males of Arimidius, that's probably why it's called Artie, were probably not much larger. Artie combined tree climbing and bipedal walking on the ground. Her arms and hands were longer than in humans, but shorter than in chimpanzees. She was less acrobatic, more careful tree climber than chimpanzees on the ground. She walked with an outward pointing flat foot and could not run or walk long distances as well as later human ancestors. So age 4.4 million years. Wait, is that it? I don't think so. I don't think humans are alive 4.4 million. Maybe they were. I don't know. 4.4 MA. So this is Lucy, though. Oh, there's more pieces to Lucy, maybe. I don't know. But this is Lucy anyway. I didn't, unfortunately, get a good shot of this because we were kind of in a hurry. You can see it said Lucy, though, over here. But yeah, I was just trying to take the pictures and not hold everyone up. Lucy. Yeah, so this is the famous Lucy. Well, her sacrum is pretty intact. Very small femur, vertebrae, ribs. Yeah. And this, I don't know what this is, to be honest, but I just thought that it looked cool because it was just very tiny writing. Like you need like literally there's a magnifying glass right there. Like I don't think there's any spaces or anything either, and the pages are very thin, and it's such a thick book. It's just crazy. That tooth looks as big as a femur, yeah. Original or replica bones? I'm pretty sure those are original because they were found in Ethiopia. That's part of, yeah, so this is the Ethiopian National Museum, and B and I were posing. And it's just a random street in Addis Ababa, kind of like on the outskirts because this is right before we went to the top of the mountain. Some of the photos and videos are a little bit out of order, so this is, you guys already saw the top of the mountain earlier. So this is a seat belt that didn't quite work. So in order for it to work, they just had this thing sticking out, and you just wrapped the seat belt around it, and you pretty much have a seat belt. And this is from the inside of the taxi that was driving us around. That you guys already saw earlier when we were driving around those traffic circles. That gave you guys so much anxiety. Kind of would have given me anxiety too if I was driving. I kind of got used to it after a while, actually. Yeah, this is the inside of the van. There was like this, it was like crisscrossing. It was almost like they were like the prisoners in the back or something. I was like one of the police officers or something. But yeah, they wanted me to sit in the front because I had the camera. They wanted me to take pictures and stuff. Here's me. Yeah, and this is just some shops on the way up to the top of the mountain. And you'll see some houses actually that they just kind of look like makeshift houses. Like there's a lot of just buildings made out of sheet metal in Ethiopia. Sheet metal and some wood. Yeah, so like this is a house right over here. A house, like a normal house looks like. And this is what a lot of transportation looks like, and especially in like the more rural parts of Ethiopia. They just fill up the back of a big truck and you go from point A to point B because it's probably cheaper. But yeah, this is like a little village over here. Got some little shops and stuff. This might be like where you go to get like photos taken of your family. or videos done for maybe your business or something. And I guess this is probably like a little gym or something over here. And this is just like, you know, houses over here. I just thought the houses were so different. I just wanted to show you guys. Well, that's usually not what they have for a seatbelt, but that's what they had. That seatbelt actually was not going anywhere. Like I'd probably get cut in half before I went anywhere with that seatbelt. It's amazing to hear the passion you have showing off where B is from. Thank you for taking the time to share all these pictures with us. Yeah, it's been really fun. Makes me feel grateful for Bart. Hi Craig, I'm a new follower. I love watching you doing some cooking, and I love watching your mom and dad making things with the chocolate and candy. Well, thanks for watching and stuff. Thanks for subscribing to both channels. Bay Area Train. Yep, again, you can usually tell it's a house because of a satellite dish, so I don't know if they got cable or what exactly. So this is a lot of, like, you would see people walking down from the top of the mountain, like a woman just carrying this huge thing. They'd go up to the top of the mountain, collect all these things, and then walk all the way down to the bottom, which probably took a couple hours. And then they would sell this in the city for, maybe it was the equivalent of like 50 cents or something like that. Like, just enough to eat, basically. So I guess you're just doing this every day just to eat, which is, it just sucks. I felt really bad for people like that. But this is the city, Addis Ababa. That's where we're staying, somewhere over here. And we stopped like right around here to take the video earlier that you guys probably saw of B when he was playing that instrument. And this was this kid selling these hats. I guess it must be difficult to develop the area. It's so mountainous. Yeah, I mean, like the city keeps growing. Like, yeah, there's like a lot of mountains, but there's also a decent amount of flat area. Oh, that's a bee guy. And that's the city again. It's so far away, it's like starting to disappear in like the clouds and fog and stuff. And we were just driving up the mountain to get to the top. We were basically at the top. Up here was another little village, and this kid just running along with a soccer ball, and then his friend chasing after him. And yeah, there's like a big church up here. In here. And there's like this little museum that was like off to the side. You actually weren't allowed to take your phone or any camera or anything in there because they don't want any pictures being taken. I don't know how serious they were, but B and his friends were saying that there might be like some secrets in there that they were like not supposed to have or something. I don't know. So that they're saying that's why you weren't supposed to take pictures. Like you actually would put your phone and camera and stuff in a locker, and then you would take the key with you, and then when you come out, you use your key to get the stuff again. And I never noticed this person up here is like just working on stuff until just now. And that's his friend. There's B and Danny. I think this was like some old emperor's house from back in the day. Oh, and at the top of the mountain we got some tea. She was making some tea and some coffee for us. He tried it, and we all tried it. I got pictures of him trying it because it was very bitter because I think she didn't have any sugar. I think they ran out or something. And like I said, I look extra white because I had a lot of sunscreen on. I don't know if you guys can tell. yeah, so that's him trying trying the coffee because it's very bitter. I mean, coffee just is, but like without any like cream or sugar or anything, it's gonna be very bitter. I just don't like coffee in general, so I didn't really like it. Although I know Ethiopia is known for their coffee, but you know, maybe if you like coffee. Oh, so this is where I got the bracelet that I showed you guys earlier. It's right here. We just got done having the tea, and then she just wanted to give me a bracelet, and she wasn't the biggest fan of getting her picture taken, so I forgot who was taking the picture, but it was really fun. You'll just see the next sequence of pictures. I'll just like skim right through them because they just had his finger down the shutter, but this is her giving me the bracelet, and then she realized that he was taking all the pictures, and then she just left, and she was like, "I'm leaving." But yeah, that's my Ethiopian bracelet. She just wanted to give it to me. What was it like there? Very different. Yeah, this is a really big tree. You'll have to watch the whole live stream, I guess, to hear all the stuff I have to say. But yeah, this is a really big tree, and we all just got a picture in front of it. Palace of Emperor Minilk and Empress T2, 1883. Yeah, and this is the picture of the town at the top of the mountain. So yeah, so this is sugar cane that they're selling. And probably a little restaurant or shop or something over here. Some houses over here and over here. And I think this was our van. Yeah, it's got another shot, same area. Yeah, this is just the inside of the van. I thought it was interesting because you could highlight the oranges, banana, apple, or tomato or something. And this is just coming down from the top of the mountain. It's just like really just like wound around the whole mountain. And I don't know if there's just like a bunch of taxis. I don't know if I think there's probably a road over here is connecting or something. And I just took a bunch of pictures on the way down on this side of the street because it's just so different from the U.S. Like that's a shop right there. Like you just, I don't know, you come in from over here, go up these little steps, and you buy your water and soda and stuff. And I think that's the person's house maybe right here. There's a lot of doors like that.